My name is Denise. I'm 32. It happens in my grandfather's lawyer's office. Polished walnut and cold air. The will sits open on the table. Pages crisp. Signatures. Perfect. Mother adjusts her pearl earring, waiting for her turn to be admired. Your sister gets the vineyard, she says softly, then louder. And Denise gets, she laughs. An envelope. The room answers with polite chuckles. A crystal glass trembles in my father's hand. I keep still. The envelope rests before me. Cream paper. Gold seal unbroken. The lawyer clears his throat. His cufflinks catch the light. Per Mr. Harlan's reading. He begins. Ms. Denise Thompson receives the contents of this envelope. At full discretion. Mother leans forward. Must be sentimental. A postcard. Perhaps. Her perfume sharpens the air like vinegar. I touch the envelope. My hand doesn't shake. Inside. Weightless expectation. No laughter from me. The sound of paper fills the room, too small to matter, too loud to ignore. My brother lifts his glass. Maybe it's a flight coupon, he says. Or a sympathy card. Someone exhales through a laugh. The chandelier hums. The lawyer's eyes flick toward me, then away. Professional and precise. I stay still. Breath locked behind my teeth. I look at my mother's hand, rings heavy, knuckles stiff. Around us, silence rearranges itself into judgment. No one speaks first. No one needs to. Mr. Harland closes the folder. All assets accounted for. He glances up once more, quick, deliberate. A signal I catch. He knows something they don't. And that is enough. I lower the envelope into my purse. No expression. No sound. Only the faint tap of his pen against the ledger. The first witness to my quiet inheritance. Mother's laughter still lingers in the air. It moves around the room like perfume, sharp, deliberate, expensive. I don't move. My hand rests on the purse where the envelope now sleeps. The air feels heavier, folded around me. My reflection in the table's gloss stays still, eyes half closed, pulse even. I wait for silence to fill every corner, and it does. No one speaks to me. Not father. Not my sister. Only the clock on the wall continues its slow, perfect rhythm. I match my breathing to its tick. Mr. Harland gathers the papers. He doesn't meet my eyes again, but I catch the smallest nod. A code. A confirmation. I understand more than they think. Mother whispers. Poor Denise. Her voice slides across the polished wood like a blade. I watch her rings glint under the chandelier. Each reflection cold. Rehearsed. Inside. Nothing moves. I freeze, not in fear, but precision. I let their laughter echo once more, memorizing each note. It will matter later. My lawyer was already waiting. I think. The seed settles quietly. No one notices the shift. They never do, until it's too late. I rise, smooth the fabric of my dress, and turn toward the door. The room exhales behind me, relieved to see me go. The envelope presses lightly against my palm, weightless, but not empty. I walk out without looking back. The hallway light is white, still, endless. And before I tell you how I got here, you need to know where it began. It didn't start at that dinner. It never started in a single room. It spread quietly, year after year, like light under a door. At home, the hierarchy stood without being said. My brother went first. I waited. Gifts matched titles, not birthdays, because titles lasted longer than years. Report cards lay flat on the table. His were framed. Mine were stacked. The same chair held me every night, the one with the loose arm that pinched my sleeve when I turned too quickly. At the long oak table, roles stayed fixed. Mother praised the winner. Father counted the future. I passed the bread, refilled glasses, listened to plans that never used my name, while the chandelier buzzed a steady, Thin reminder above everything. Let your brother speak, Mother said, even when he was finished. The line landed clean. The room shifted by an inch. I kept my hands under the table, fingers pressed together until the knuckles cooled, while plates reflected my face in small, warped circles of light. The hallway carried voices farther than doors did. I learned to stop at the photograph wall and breathe once. It showed vacations I didn't attend and ribbons I didn't win. Each frame aligned like a grid that never missed a square, because symmetry mattered more than names. At birthdays, the cake knife moved right, not left. The first slice set the order. I poured coffee. They talked internships and introductions. And I nodded at the window where the glass kept its winter film, even in June. Because maintenance waited for permission I didn't have. Comparisons arrived, folded inside compliments. You're reliable, Father said. Dependable. The words pinned me to the chair, while my brother planned another summer abroad, and Mother folded the itinerary into her purse with the travel card he hadn't earned. Because tradition simplified the paperwork and avoided surprises on hotel ledgers. I spoke less. They filled the space. The table liked it that way. The plates cooled without comment. And the hallway lamp hummed on time, as if the house preferred a script that required no edits. The first betrayal came small enough to ignore. It was graduation day. My name wasn't on the program. Mother said the printer missed it. Father said it didn't matter. My diploma arrived, folded in half, pressed into my hand between conversations about my brother's promotion. The next summer, I built a project proposal that could have been his. He submitted it first. The company called it teamwork. They sent him overseas for a year. I stayed behind, filing his paperwork, typing his reports, watching my own name disappear into headers I didn't write. I remember the night the pattern locked. Dinner again. Another toast. Your sister helps so well, Mother said, not looking at me. Father nodded. Every success needs support. Their glasses met in the air. I wasn't part of the sound. My hand tightened on the fork until the handle left a mark. That was the lesson. Not to interrupt. Not to expect the pause to reach me. Words became unnecessary after that. Silence was easier to maintain than attention. When they argued, I listened. When they praised, I arranged the dishes. I measured time in breaths between questions, the ones directed past me. Soon, no one waited for my answers. By the time I moved out, the quiet was complete. Calls came for logistics, not conversation. Holidays required my confirmation, never my company. It simplified everything. They got comfortable with my silence. They thought it meant obedience. The pattern stayed alive. Years passed, but the table didn't change. Same chairs, same order, same measured tone that filled the spaces between silverware. They still met every Sunday. They still told the same stories. They still forgot the parts that included me. Mother liked to host now. The house had new art, new floors, old rules. Guests arrived with their voices tuned to admiration. I sat at the edge, where the light dimmed against the drapes. Denise handles the details, Mother said. She's good with the boring parts. Laughter followed. Forks clinked. No one noticed my glass was empty. She said it. She said it again. She said it once more. Each version smaller, sharper, cleaner, a sentence worn smooth by repetition, stripped of its disguise. I folded the napkin once, twice, until the edges lined like perfect accounting columns. My brother poured wine over the tablecloth. It bled into the seam, a red thread running between plates. He laughed. You'll handle the stain, won't you? He didn't wait for an answer. The chandelier hummed like memory. My seat always faced the same wall painted gray, untouched, steady. From that angle, I could see their reflections. Never mine. When the checks came, I paid. It was habit now. Their hands never reached for the bill, Only their glasses. Denise insists. Father said once, smiling toward the guests. Generosity, presented as duty, disguised as gratitude. The unfairness no longer hid behind courtesy. It sat in plain view. Like another guest at the table, Mother's watch tapped the edge of her plate soft, constant, deliberate. Dinner stretched like a rehearsal for a life that never evolved. I stayed silent. That was my assigned space, carved long ago. The envelope from the will lay in my purse. To untouched, the same weight it had the day I received it. The laughter looped, precise as clockwork. No one remembered the order of things, they just followed it. I matched their rhythm until the sound became background noise. The table had rules. The family had hierarchy. I had distance. The room always had witnesses. They came dressed in politeness, ready to see, but not notice. Waiters poured wine, cleared plates, and kept their eyes low. Every dinner had its audience small, silent, unrecorded. Mother performed for them. She liked an audience, even if they were strangers. Tonight she held up my envelope, the one from the will. Still keeping secrets. Denise, she said. Laughter again, thin and practiced. It touched nothing in the room but the glass. I didn't reach for it. She waved it once, then set it beside her plate like a trophy. Father watched, neither stopping her nor joining in. He looked at me briefly, long enough to mark his permission. The conversation turned to business. My brother discussed his new project funded by money I once loaned him. No one mentioned the loan. He called it family trust, a phrase that sounded clean in the air, but left a residue. Mr. Harland was there too. He'd been invited for appearances, not company. When our eyes met, he shifted his gaze to the silver tray. He knew this wasn't his stage. The line they crossed came quiet. Mother leaned close enough for only me to hear. You should thank your brother, she said. He keeps the family's reputation alive. The words carried no tone. They didn't need one. Something small moved inside me, then stopped. The fork slid from my hand. Hit the plate once. A single sound that cracked the rhythm. The laughter paused. The room hesitated, as if unsure which cue to follow. I didn't speak. I gathered my napkin, folded it with care, and placed it beside the glass. My chair scraped the floor. A clean, final note. No one called my name. Their voices resumed before I reached the door. Same timbre, same ease. As if silence had been restored. In a way, it had, just not the kind they controlled. Something in me stopped listening. The next morning looked the same. Coffee poured, curtains half drawn, light resting on the edge of the counter. The quiet had weight, but not shape. I moved through it like someone rehearsing a life already memorized. The table still held last night's plates. One fork balanced on the rim of a bowl, catching the thin hum of the refrigerator. Nothing in the house admitted what happened. Even the air waited, pretending routine. I washed the glass. Water ran clear, then stopped. For a moment, I watched my reflection split between two surfaces, metal sink, window pane. Neither version blinked. Mother called once. I let it ring. The phone buzzed until the light died. No message followed. Sound returned to the small rhythm of breathing. The hallway smelled of cedar polish and quiet. Photographs lined the wall. Same order. Same symmetry. Their faces stayed young. Mine kept changing. A crack ran through one frame thin. Deliberate. Almost elegant. It didn't bother me. It matched the rest. I made breakfast. Untouched. The chair across from me was empty but not absent. Its silence worked harder than any voice. I left the dishes to dry on their own. Midday light reached the floor in stripes. Dust moved inside it, slow and exact. I traced one shadow with my foot until it crossed the rug's border. That was where the sound changed. Softer now, like cloth breathing. My hand steadied without effort. The pulse that used to rise during dinners stayed low. Every sound around me settled into pattern clock. Window latch. Faint hum of pipes. Nothing asked for a response. I opened the drawer. Took out the envelope. The seal stayed intact. My thumb rested on the crease. Pressing once before releasing, the paper was still warm from my hand. Something in me went quiet for good. I placed the envelope inside a folder, closed the clasp, and aligned it with the others. They looked identical from above, unmarked, waiting. Outside, a car door shut somewhere down the street. Its echo folded into the walls, leaving nothing unsettled. I walked to the window and opened it halfway. Air moved through, cool and certain. Enough. The word stayed behind my teeth. Smaller than a whisper. I turned off the lights, one by one, until the room was a pale outline. Nothing about the day had changed. Everything inside it had. The day stretched without urgency. I moved through it on time. Précis. Deliberate. Each sound had its place. Now the click of heels. The closing drawer. The faint hum of light against glass. I gathered the folders from the desk. Papers arranged by color, not subject. I liked the symmetry more than the order. One folder stayed separate, the envelope inside. I placed it in my bag. Not to open. Not yet. Just to know it moved with me. The zipper closed, without sound. The metal teeth aligning perfectly. By evening, the air turned softer, more golden. The lamp on the table flickered once, then held steady. It drew a long reflection across the floor, pale and exact. I followed it with my eyes until it reached the base of the door. I locked the door once, then twice. The second click was cleaner, colder, final. The world outside could wait. I sat at the same table, the one that once anchored every dinner. It looked different now, smaller, almost manageable. My hand rested where the family used to sit, tracing invisible outlines of plates and glasses. The wood no longer remembered them. On the counter, the phone lit again. A message preview. Dinner tomorrow. Same place. The light dimmed before I answered. I didn't delete it. I didn't respond. Control didn't need announcement. I opened the window wider. Night air entered, moving the papers slightly. Just enough to prove they could move. Nothing else did. The clock ticked once and stopped. Its silence matched mine. As précis. Effortless. I didn't check the time. Time had already begun working for me. Not against. I looked at the envelope one more time. The seal caught the lamp's reflection, a thin gold arc, curved like a horizon. It wasn't invitation anymore. It was proof. I stood, adjusted the chair beneath the table, and turned off the light. The room disappeared in one motion, like a scene ending clean. Outside, a single car passed, headlights sliding across the window, fading fast. I stopped being theirs. The conference room carried the same silence as the will reading years ago. White walls, black chairs, light that revealed everything and forgave nothing. A long table stretched between us, polished to a mirror. I could see every reflection but mine. Mother sat at the center. Her pearls matched the papers in front of her. Father adjusted his cufflinks. A gesture, rehearsed through decades. My brother scrolled his phone, confident enough to ignore gravity. The lawyer stood by the window, folder under one arm. He said nothing. Not yet. The hum of the air conditioner filled the pause where voices usually lived. Outside, sunlight struck the glass. White and exact. I entered without greeting. My steps were even, unhurried. Every sound they made heel, floor, air belonged to me. I stopped behind the empty chair, the one they never reserved for me. Mother spoke first. You didn't have to come, she said. Her tone carried a smile meant for onlookers. There were none. I sat. No words. No glance. only the sound of paper sliding as I placed the folder on the table. It made a clean, soft sound that stopped my brother's scrolling. Two short lines of ink sat across the top page. No headline, no decoration, only names. Theirs, then mine. The lawyer exhaled. Just once. A quiet signal. He opened his own folder. Slower this time. He nodded to me. I turned the first page. Father leaned forward. Is this about the estate? His question hung like smoke. No answer needed. The paper rustled once as I slid it toward them. Mother's hand hesitated over the sheet. The paper trembled faintly under her rings. Her voice came soft, uncertain. What is this? Her eyes didn't rise to meet mine. The updated registry, the lawyer said. His tone neutral, surgical. Every syllable struck clean against the glass walls. He placed his pen beside her hand and stepped back. I said nothing. I watched the light move across the silver pen. It touched her wrist, then faded. No shadow followed. The second document came next. I placed it beside the first. The sound was deliberate, exact, final. The air in the room changed shape. My brother leaned closer, lips parting. His voice failed before it formed. He looked at the heading twice, slow, disbelieving. The logo printed above his company's name glimmered like frost. Mother whispered to Father, "This can't be right." Father didn't reply. The silence stretched thin, glass-like, ready to break under breath. The lawyer didn't move. I rested my hands on the table. The contrast of skin against the white surface looked absolute. They watched the motion as if it carried weight. It did. A paperclip slipped free, hit the glass with a light metallic tap. It echoed longer than it should have. No one reached to pick it up. The moment stood still, suspended. Mother's pearls caught the light again. For the first time, she didn't adjust them. Her reflection in the glass blurred, unfamiliar. I waited until the quiet stopped being polite. The deed already had my name. Mother's hand hovered above the signature line. Her breath caught. Just once, then disappeared. Father's voice didn't arrive at all. The air in the room flattened until even the hum of the lights fell away. I watched the shift happen, the slow recognition traveling through each face like a thin crack spreading through glass. Their eyes moved between the documents, searching for rescue in the margins. There was none. Every number, every seal, every transfer already complete. I didn't explain. The lawyer did. His tone was factual, exact, trimmed of emotion. He pointed to the registry code, the official stamp, the new legal custodian. My brother's chair scraped backward. The sound hit hard against the marble floor, then stopped. He looked at me, then at Father, waiting for someone to declare a mistake. No one did. Mother's pearls shifted once more. They no longer gleamed. Her hand rested on the table, pale under the white light. The pen stayed beside her, still capped. She didn't touch it. The proof was simple. Black ink, white paper, clean edges. The house wasn't theirs anymore. The company wasn't his anymore. Every transfer had already been witnessed, signed, filed. Someone exhaled short, uneven, too loud for the new silence. I closed the folder slowly, pressing the metal clip into place. The click landed like a closing door. No one followed the sound. The lawyer gathered the copies, each slide of paper measured and precise. He didn't look at me again. He didn't need to. His job was done. Father tried to speak. The word failed before it reached air. His mouth opened, then closed, as if rehearsing disbelief. Mother finally stood, unsteady, but proud enough to stay upright. Her reflection fractured across the glass table, doubled and dim. I stood too. The room remained behind me, frozen mid-breath. No one moved toward the door. The light followed me to the threshold, white and clean. Outside, the corridor stretched quiet and long. Footsteps softened over carpet. absorbed by the stillness. I didn't turn back. I didn't need to. No one spoke after that. No one moved after I left the table. The sound of the door closing stayed behind, folded into the air. The light thinned, stretching across the carpet, quiet as breath. For a moment, even the city outside seemed unsure how to continue. Inside, they were still sitting. I could picture it, their eyes on the same papers, waiting for meaning to rearrange itself. The room must have felt smaller, its walls holding too much silence for comfort. The lawyer would pack his briefcase carefully, as if noise could break something fragile. I stood by the elevator, watching the numbers climb and fall. The display flickered once, red to gold, steady again. My reflection hovered over it, layered with fluorescent light and stillness. I pressed the button only once. The ride down was slow. Mirrors on 3 sides. No sound except machinery breathing through steel. I counted the floors without looking at them. The descent felt exact, without memory or expectation. The lobby opened into wide glass and muted footsteps. A guard nodded. I nodded back. No words. The air smelled faintly of polished stone and coffee. Outside, the afternoon was pale, edges soft under the fading sun. People passed, carrying their own noise, their own urgency. None of it touched me. I stepped into the shade of the building and waited for nothing. The door behind me stayed closed. Its reflection caught in the window beside me, holding the last image of their room. A faint vibration of voices, too distant to matter. Then nothing. The streetlight blinked once. Early for the hour. I walked toward it, shoes marking even intervals against the sidewalk. Every sound that reached me, wind, footsteps, a single passing car, felt balanced, complete. The quiet held. The air outside carried a calm weight. It moved through my hair, across my coat, then vanished into the city's hum. Every sound around me seemed softened by distance. Nothing chased me. Nothing called my name. I crossed the street once, slow, careful. The crosswalk light changed halfway through, but I kept walking. A bus passed, its reflection sliding over the shop windows like brushed silver. The breeze followed and left. In the cafe window, my reflection appeared again. The glass was pale, almost colorless. Behind it, people spoke over cups and screens, their words too quiet to reach me. I didn't go in. I stopped at the corner. The same sunlight from the conference room reached this far, diluted but steady. It touched the pavement, turned everything softer, harmless. I breathed once and kept still. The envelope was still in my bag, its edges pressed against the lining, a family weight. I rested my hand over it, just long enough to feel its certainty. Then I let go. A door nearby opened. The sound brushed past, light and brief. Someone laughed from inside, unaware of anything that came before. It faded quickly. I turned toward the breeze, eyes half closed. The quiet held its shape. Buildings rose behind me, tall and glass, keeping the last of the light. The sky above them leaned toward beige, the color before night. I reached the end of the block and stopped. The wind settled around my shoulders, still and dry. Everything that needed to happen had already happened. There was no echo left to follow. I looked once more at the fading sun, then I stepped forward, leaving the reflection behind the glass. Peace doesn't need witnesses. The wind moved once and stayed. Light crossed the glass, then disappeared. Everything that mattered had already fallen quiet.